of how to break out of a homeschool rut. And it's the beginning of a new year, it's winter time, sometimes we get the blues and feel kind of yucky, and then if we're homeschooling and everybody's in the house together and it's getting on everybody's nerves, and sometimes you just get tired of the same thing every day, and sometimes it's hard to not fall into that trap of the same routines, doing the same thing the same way every day. So I have some tips and suggestions for breaking out of a homeschool rut that I wanted to share with you guys. And the first thing is, and this is the big thing for me, is get out of the house. Whether that be going out to lunch, we usually go to Panera every day for lunch, and then we eat dinner at home, or go out to make sure you're going out to play and having recess just like they would in public school. But just get out of the house, even if it's just for a little while, to break up the monotony of the day, to get some fresh air. And I think that really helps. For me, it's about being around other people. And so we have some friends that we have made just by going to Panera every day. And it's nice to go and see them and talk to them. And then we go back home and go about our business. But it just helps to get that little bit of time where we're out with other people that I think is really fun. Another way to break out of a rut is to plan what I call a crafternoon. And so that would be a day where you spend pretty much the whole afternoon working on crafts. They can be educational or not. They can be related to maybe a subject you're doing, a topic you're doing in social studies. They can be related to the season. If you've watched any of my Kidding Around Crafts for Kids videos, which I'll link below, I usually theme those around whatever holiday is coming up. So for Christmas we did candy canes, and we did some other stuff that I didn't show, like we made gingerbread men, we made Christmas trees, we did like a manger scene. We did a bunch of different things, but I usually try to theme them around whatever holiday, and that makes it especially fun because that's what they do in public school. And I know when I was in school, that was always the fun thing. Like around Valentine's Day, we would always make the little Valentine mailboxes, and then, you know, in Christmas time we'd make the little milk carton gingerbread thing. So I mean, just try to do that and incorporate that into your day. And it's still educational, it's still art, it's still motor skills, and it's a nice way to get some school done but make it more fun for everybody. Another thing is to not be afraid to use educational television as part of your school. There's so many different educational television shows out there that you can watch, and there's things on YouTube, there's all different things you can find. We usually watch Wildcrats, How It's Made, Super Why, Martha Speaks. Peep is a show that used to come on the Science Channel, Discovery Science I think it was, or Discovery Channel, but I don't think it comes on anymore, but it's on Netflix. Word World, Word Girl, Liberty's Kids is another one. If you've got a child that's studying the American Revolution, you can get that on Amazon for like $8 or less usually. Electric Company, Octonauts, Umi Zoomy is another one we watch with my preschooler. Leapfrog has great educational products, and a lot of them are on Netflix. The National Geographic Channel, it's really funny because How It's Made a lot of times sometimes has industrial things, but they have a lot of normal things too, like shoes, and the other day it was crayons. And my youngest daughter the other day said, and she's 4, but she'd been watching it with my older daughter, and she's like, I know how they make shoes now. So like they were learning how to make shoes. So it's just, it seems like a weird thing to count as educational, but haven't you wondered as an adult how they make certain things? And that show tells you. So definitely look into that if you haven't seen that yet. I know some people even use House Hunters International as a way to expose their kids to what houses look like in other countries. We haven't done that, but I know some people do that. And the Travel Channel also would be a good one. A lot of times they feature different countries and cities and states and different things. You might find some educational shows on there as well. And then take a field trip. Even if you don't belong with a co-op that where you're able to take part with like a group field trip, try to take a field trip on your own. Go to the zoo, take an art class, museums, plays and concerts. The library has a lot of programs, especially in the summer, that you can attend that are educational. They have an animal program here every summer, a bunch of different book clubs that your children can join based on their ages. And then factories like candy factories, glass blowing factories, recycling centers would be a good one for Earth Day. Also make sure that you're incorporating science projects. That's a good educational thing you can do that is fun and engaging and hands-on that the kids can learn, and it's a break from reading just a textbook over and over. Pinterest and YouTube is full of ideas with science projects, and some of them, they can be as easy or as elaborate as you want. I mean, if you just look them up and make a Pinterest board about just science projects or whatever, and every time you see one that seems interesting, add to that. And if you are having a day when you're just bored, you don't know what to do, hit up Pinterest because you'll find plenty of things to do. Another really great way to break a homeschool rut would be to volunteer somewhere, and that counts as community service is a big part of being a productive adult that contributes to society. Community cleanup or retirement home. Churches almost always have charities that they're working with. If you can't find a charity you want to work with, call your local church and find out if there's anything they need help with, or any organizations that they could use your help with. It would also be fun to let your kids plan their own community service projects. So if that means to go out and collect cans and then turn them in for cash and donate the money to a different charity, or organize a toy drive if it's around Christmas time, or if it's Valentine's Day, do some kind of a Valentine project for the people in a retirement home. Anything like that. Let your kids be in charge and pick what they think is important to them, and let them get involved and plan it. And that's going to be really great for them to learn to not only to give to others, to take pride in something that they have done to help other people. Also, I did mention earlier about co-ops with field trips. We do have a co-op that we go to every Friday. And if you don't belong to one, maybe you should look into what co-ops might be in your area. And if you don't know, a co-op is just a group of other homeschoolers in your area that gets together, usually once a week. And some of them assign homework, some of them don't. Some of them are pretty much all elective type courses. Some of them are actually really academically sound courses. So it depends on, every co-op is different. They usually charge, from what I know. I don't know of any of them that are actually free. But it's just been a really great experience for us, and I'll link the video below that I made about our co-op. But it's been a really great thing. The girls love it, and it's a nice way to get out of the house, still be doing homeschool work, and it gives you a break. Another thing you could do that would be really fun is to be a foster parent for different animals. I know when I mentioned the library here has an animal program that comes every summer, and it's the same guy every summer, and he has all these different animals that he gives out as foster parent, for you to be a foster parent of. So like over the last summer, he had baby hedgehogs that he was trying to find foster homes for, and of course you don't get to keep them because you are a foster home, but while you have them in your care, it would be a really great way to expose your child to maybe an animal that you wouldn't ordinarily have bought at a pet store or somewhere, and to learn about different types of animals, their characteristics, their habitats, their feeding, all the different things, caring for an animal in general. And that might be something you could look into. And then adding music, drama, and art classes into your homeschool curriculum. If you haven't already, it would be a great way to have your children get out, be around other people, express themselves through different forms of art. And of course, foreign language is also another big one. And we haven't started that yet, and I'm not really sure exactly what we're going to do about that yet. But that will be another great one that I know that would definitely be beneficial in their life and give them a break from the typical core classes. And when you're just having a really bad time, don't be afraid to take a day or two off. I mean, it's not the end of the world, and that's the good thing about homeschooling, is you can set your own schedule. Now, obviously, you'll have to follow along with whatever your state's guidelines are for the minimum amount of hours you have to complete every school year. But I mean, if everybody's burned out and in a bad mood, just take a day or two off. Sleep in, go to the park, go shopping, have fun, and then come back when you feel better and more refreshed after a couple days. And don't be such a slave to your schedule that it's not fun anymore. And it really should be fun. Just like when kids go to public school, they have little breaks in the day, and they get to go to recess, and they have time in the hallway when they're seeing their friends, and they go to the library just to look at books. So don't be such a slave to your schedule of 8 o'clock is math, and 8:30 is this, and 8:35 is this, that you become a drill sergeant, and that makes you stressed out, it makes your kids stressed out, and it's not fun for anybody. And making sure that you do make time for recess and playtime, even if it's not outside, that they can go and play in their rooms, or they can play together if you have several children. Just making sure you allow time in the day for them to play, and maybe even do some chores in the middle of the day, just to break up the monotony of the day and kind of get everybody to get the wiggles out. Even older kids, I think, need a break time to maybe play a video game, or lay down and read something, or just to be by themselves, maybe whatever they like to do, just to give them that time where they can step away from everybody else if they want to and have some time alone, and then come back and finish their work. Just to don't be afraid to change it up. If a certain curriculum isn't working, then pitch it. I mean, I know a lot of times it's expensive to buy different sets of curriculum or different textbooks or whatever, and there's probably always a way you could use them in a different way later on. But if something's not working for you and or your child, then try something else. If you're working on a curriculum that everybody hates, then nobody's going to want to do it. Nobody's going to learn as much because they're stressed out about using a certain curriculum they don't like. We did that with history. I love the textbooks. I think they're beautiful textbooks, and we're going to keep them and use them in different ways, but we are not going to use them as our our only history curriculum right now, because it was just getting too dry for her. It was too monotonous. I felt like it was missing certain things that needed to be in certain chapters, and it was a little funny with the way it was ordered chronologically. So we just decided to forget it. I paid a lot for those books, and we're going to keep them, and they're still nice to have in the house for reference, and we're going to use them in bits and pieces, but that's not our curriculum anymore for history because it wasn't working. So another way to keep your days interesting is to add unit studies whenever possible, and even lap booking if you're into that. If you don't know anything about lap booking and unit studies, I don't have any videos about them, but there's tons of them on YouTube where you can look into all these people that make these elaborate unit studies about different things and elaborate lap books about different things that might be fun for you or your child. That's not kind of, the lap booking thing especially is not my thing. There's usually a lot of little moving parts you have to kind of cut and assemble, and so we haven't done that yet. The unit study thing I think is a lot more approachable and is something that we are going to do going forward. And that's where you just kind of take one topic and you stop whatever you're doing in that subject and you build on it. You make a report about it, or you do a project about it, or you do some kind of a like even an artwork piece about it, like a map, or you're studying volcanoes, maybe you'll make a life-size volcano. I mean, anything like that, and you really hone in on one specific thing and spend a week or 2 weeks or however long you want on that one topic, and then you move on when you get back, when that's done. But I think we're going to do that probably about Disney World. If I do that, I will try to share it with you guys, because that's one way I want to incorporate our vacation into our homeschooling, is to do a lot of things, educational things, before our trip actually happens. And then once we're there, we'll probably be more aware of, like, oh yeah, I saw that, or that was built back in blah 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 year. And so that's something I think that will probably be our first true unit study. Another suggestion would be to alternate between books, even on the same subject. So like maybe 1 week you'll do chemistry, and then you'll switch to biology, and then maybe botany, and just kind of move around within that realm if you have the resources available to do that. That way it's not so stagnant and the same thing over and over again. You're kind of switching up your topics and keeping it interesting. And don't forget to add websites, online games, software, different software that you can buy, apps, supplemental workbooks, flashcards, and even, with younger kids, teaching games like the Leap Pad or the Leapster or Learning Globe and all those different things. And I'll link a video below that I made. I have a couple. I have one that's my very favorite homeschool websites, and there's a lot of games on there. And then I also have one that's preschool supplements video that I made about all the little things that we use to supplement my preschoolers' curriculum. So I'll link those two below as well. Like I mentioned, Pinterest is your new BFF. It's a great way to set up different boards. You can set it up by just in general, like by crafts, or you can set it up by homeschool or each child, even things that are related to their age group. And there's so many different things out there that I think it makes it a lot easier for you as the teacher of a homeschooler to think outside the box, to get ideas from other people of things that they've done. And it's been a really great resource for me. And I do have my Pinterest account linked on my YouTube channel main page. So if you want to look me up on Pinterest and kind of see the things that I have been pinning, then you can join me on there, and we can kind of share back and forth what we found. Teachers Pay Teachers is also a great website, which is set up for, it's free to join, and you do have to pay for certain things, but a lot of teachers put their worksheets on there for free for you to download. And I found quite a few things on there. I've paid for a couple of things, but I found quite a few things on there for free that have been really helpful. And they are created by teachers, so you know that it's, a really great, well thought out worksheet. Another fun thing to do would be to let your kids make the lesson plans for a week. Decide what they want to learn, if they want to watch an educational movie, if they want to do a certain book report or a project, what do they want to learn and study, and then help, work with them about that. They could draw their own graphic novel, make their own comic strip, film their own documentary. They could even make their own kind of a news show where they're the news anchor and they can kind of deliver the world news or things that happened this day in history. Just some things to keep it fun and interesting and different, and especially if you make videos, that's going to be something you're going to want to keep as a memento for years down the road. Another fun thing might be to make a suggestion box, just like restaurants do in different businesses. Make a suggestion box that people can write down if they have an idea something they want to study, or something they want you to do differently as the teacher, or some fun field trip suggestions they want to make. Just make a little box. They can decorate it. You can leave it in wherever you homeschool, and then whenever anybody thinks of anything they want to add to the suggestion box, just put it on a little piece of paper and drop it in there, and then you can read them every so often together and decide which of those things that you want to actually incorporate into your homeschool. Another fun suggestion to break out of a homeschool rut would be to have a library day, just like they do in school. My daughter used to go to a library once a week, get to pick out whatever books they wanted. You could maybe pick some books out for them too if you want to. And then maybe they could do a special book report about a book that they checked out, or maybe you might suggest that they do a book report about a book that you picked out. Maybe you could alternate whose turn it was to do the book report on the book they picked or the book that you picked. The library also does have tons and tons of programs. I mean, I don't know how other people's libraries operate, but I'm pretty sure they're all about the same as far as that goes. There's usually tons of activities they can get involved in based on age group. There's a lot of things after school. When you're in homeschool, there's some things in the afternoon usually that they can do. There's book clubs. I know that our library has an American Girl book club. They have science project clubs every Saturday. So it's just a really great free resource for you to utilize. So if you haven't checked into that, you definitely should. So those are all my suggestions for breaking out of a homeschool rut. And as I think of things later on down the road, I'll definitely make another video like this if you guys like it. So let me know if you have any comments or suggestions for me about how to get out of a homeschool rut. Leave them down below in the comments, and I would love to see what you guys would suggest. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.